Hello everyone, this is Josh Moore from Play More Games, and in this video I'm going to talk about comfort games, or as I like to call them, chicken soup for the retro gamer's soul. Now what comfort games are, these are games that you have nostalgia for, maybe you grew up with them, and you get a lot of enjoyment out of these games. So, I'm going to start off with one of my favorite games for the Game Boy. This is Kirby's Dream Land for the Game Boy. And I've been playing this game ever since I bought it probably about 31 years ago when I first got it. And I still play it to this day. Got a lot of nostalgia for it. It was one of the first games that I actually beat, so a lot of good memories with that. Second off, for the PC Engine. Now this is Ninja Gaiden. Now I grew up playing the Ninja Gaiden for the NES, but this is a little bit of a 16-bit update. And I know there are a few scrolling problems, but overall I like this game a little bit better than the NES and Famicom versions. And if you haven't played this, I highly recommend it. It's very difficult, but very good. Next off, Streets of Rage. This is my favorite Genesis beat 'em up. This is the first Genesis game that I really loved. As soon as I started playing this, within the first 5 minutes, I knew it was a masterpiece. Anytime I pop this game in, I'm gonna sit there with it at least 30 minutes. It's really good. And if it's not in your collection, I highly recommend it. Another game. Now this is for the Super Famicom, also released on the Super Nintendo, Super Metroid. I've always loved exploration games, and when I picked this up for the Super Nintendo back in '94, I didn't know what I was getting into, but it's a great game. These settings very eerie, some horror elements. It's always cool finding new weapons and hidden items. And I've really just always loved this game. It's very good. Check this out if you haven't already. You can play this on Super Nintendo's, Super Famicom. I also believe you can play this on Switch. But yeah, check it out. All right. Now this was the first exploration type game I ever played. The Legend of Zelda. And this is a really fantastic game. It's strange, when I was growing up, I never had the first game. I had the second game, and I didn't play this until years later. But the moment I played it and started exploring the overworld, fighting all the different enemies, I know this was one of my favorite games. And it's always nice to pop this in from time to time and play through it. So, The Legend of Zelda. I don't think anything really needs to be said about this. All right. Now, I've played all of these games several times, but I do not think I've played any game more than Biohazard or Resident Evil here in the States. This was the first horror game I believe I played through, and I've probably beaten it 40, maybe 50 times. It's just such a joy to play. Even though the jump scares aren't there anymore, it's still just an awesome game. From the cheesy acting to the enemies, it's an amazing game. Now, this was also remastered in the early 2000s, but I don't have as much nostalgia for that game. This one, for me, is the better of the two games. And this was available on several systems, actually. PlayStation, Nintendo DS, let's see, Sega Saturn. It wasn't available on the GameCube because the GameCube had the remaster. So maybe not several, maybe just 3. Oh, it was also released on PC. So, yeah, Resident Evil, Biohazard. It's a really great game. Again, going back to the exploration element. But in this game, you're not really finding so much secrets as you are looking for extra ammo, trying to survive the game. Check it out if you haven't. And finally, Silent Hill 2 for the PlayStation 2. While Resident Evil was a masterpiece for horror gaming, this, for me, was a masterpiece for cinematic horror gaming. The whole game played like a terrible, nightmarish film that you are in control of. Well, to a degree. I can't think of how many times I've played through this. At least 20, 25 times, minimum. And it never gets stale. I always come back to this. Alright, everyone. I think that's all the games I have for you tonight. I appreciate you tuning in. And be sure to check out the Poor Man's Retro Game Room. This is actually a video response to him and his game choices for comfort games. And I'll be sure to leave a link to his channel. He has a lot of other great content too, so check that out while you're there. All right, I want to thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.